All right, can you all hear me? All right, I'm going to be sitting in my stool today, so you're going to have to check the screens when I'm pointing and things like that. Now, before we get going, if you remember yesterday, you got left off on a bit of a cliffhanger, okay? I think I watched your guys' group. We didn't know what was going to happen next. So I'm going to review a few things with you that we should know about Brother Andrew, and then we'll get the answers from yesterday, okay? A few things that we should know. Remember, Brother Andrew loves adventure, right? He loves adventure. We know that God saved him, and we know that Brother Andrew felt called to become a missionary. Now, he also reconnected with the really sweet Christian girl from the chocolate factory. Do you remember what her name is? Corey. Good, excellent. So he and Corey got married, and they started doing ministry together, which is awesome. All right? Now, yesterday there were two things I want us to remember, okay? First thing was, if you remember, the churches that Corey and Andrew were working at in East Germany, they were really small churches. Not a lot of people were going to them. And this was because the government told the people in these churches and told the children, God's not real, the Bible's not true, you don't need to believe any of this stuff. And so Corey and Andrew really had to pray and trust the Lord that he could help make East Germany have some churches with people that really did believe. So he encouraged the people in these churches to be missionaries, even if it meant staying in their country. All right, being a missionary, you can still reach people in your own place. So they would encourage people in East Germany to do that. Now, this is the real cliffhanger that I know we're all worried about. Remember Miss Corey? She was really sick, right? She had yellow under her eyes. She was feeling really ill. Well, I'm not going to tell you what happens to her for another 2 minutes, so you have to keep listening. I know, you can wait 2 minutes, I know. So, but because she was so sick, Brother Andrew thought maybe if we go to a different place, we still need to share the gospel, but if we go to a different country, maybe that will be a little bit better for her. So they go to this country called Yugoslavia. All right, it has a different name now, but Yugoslavia is the country they go to. And do you guys remember this map from a few days ago? All right, so we have the countries in green and we have the countries in red. And what separates them in the middle is called the Iron Curtain, all right? Now, not a real curtain, but it's like a line that separates the countries in red. Now, the countries in red, do they want to hear about God? Does the government want the Bible to be passed around? No, okay? So if Corey and Andrew are in those countries, they really want to share the Bible with people. They want to show God's love, but the governments in these countries don't really want them to. So they go to Yugoslavia. So if you look on the map, it's kind of down, if you see the little white portion in between the green and the red countries, that's kind of where Yugoslavia is. So they go there. Now remember, if you're in a red country, like on the map, they do not want the Bible being spread there. So one night, Corey and Andrew are sitting at dinner, they're eating with their friends, and they hear a knock. Who do you think it might be? The government. I heard someone say it. It's the police. So the police come to their door and they say, hey, you need to come out right now. We're taking you away. So they take Brother Andrew and Corey, and they take them and they say, you are not allowed to be here anymore. We know what you're doing. And so they put a big red stamp in Brother Andrew's passport. And the red stamp says, you cannot come back. You are not allowed to be here. Okay, that's not the news that Brother Andrew probably wanted. But they trust God and they go back home. Now, this is bad news, right? But there's good news when Brother Andrew comes home. He comes home and he finds 2 letters waiting for him. And the 2 letters are from 2 other countries that tell him, hey, you can come over to our country. Now, the 2 countries, we're going back to the map here. It might be hard to see, but the 2 countries are called Bulgaria and Romania. Can you kind of see them on the map a little bit? Okay, look on the right. Good. Okay, now what color are those countries? So do you think those countries want Brother Andrew sharing the Bible? Probably not. But Brother Andrew is really excited because this is what he's been praying for. He's been praying for an opportunity to go on the inner circle in these red countries to share the gospel. So he's really excited. Now, he's very excited, but remember, Corey is still sick, so they have to see a doctor. And do you know what the doctor says? She's pregnant. Yay! See, so she's okay. She's going to have a baby. So they're very excited. So Corey, she's going to make it. She's okay, but she's really tired, so she needs to have some rest. So the doctor says, hey, maybe slow down a little bit. You can keep doing what you're doing, but maybe don't travel all across all these countries. So they take a few months. Brother Andrew and Corey still share the gospel. They're excited for their new baby, but after a few months, they're ready. So Brother Andrew decides it's time for me. He's going to go by himself. I'm going to go to these 2 countries. So he's ready to go. Now remember the red stamp. Do you think countries want to let him in if they see a big red stamp on his passport? Probably not. That looks a little bit suspicious. So Brother Andrew has a tough decision. Should he rip out the page in his passport? Should he lie and say that he lost his passport? Should he just throw his passport away? No. Okay, are any of those decisions very trusting of God? No, and we know that Brother Andrew really trusted God. So Brother Andrew prayed, and someone gave him a good idea. They said, Brother Andrew, if you get a bunch of stamps in your passport, if you go to a bunch of these other countries and they stamp, they're going to run out of room, and you get a new passport. So that's just what Brother Andrew does. He travels to all these other countries. You can see in the top left, look at all those cool stamps. But once you have too many stamps in your passport, they give you a new one. So now he has a new passport that doesn't have any red stamp in it, and he's good to go to these 2 countries. Now on his way to Bulgaria, remember we see the map? On his way there, he stops back in Yugoslavia. And Yugoslavia is the place he got kicked out of. So do you think they want him back? No. He got kicked out of Yugoslavia, and so he spends a few more nights there, and guess what? Who is it? The police. The police are back because he's back in the country he's not supposed to be in. And they say, you're done. You're getting out. So they give him a triple bad stamp. They give him 3 red stamps. They say, you are not allowed here. I don't know how you got in here, but you are out. So they kick him out, and they make him go on a really long trip to try to get back home. Remember last time when he got kicked out, they just sent him straight home? Now he has to do a long trip. And on his long trip, he becomes really, really sad. Do you see how close he was to Bulgaria? He was so close to making it to the place that he had prayed about going, and now he has to go in the opposite direction to Italy, and then Italy sends him all the way to Turkey. So he's on a long trip, and he's really sad because he realizes, I was so close, I miss Corey, my back is really hurting. He's having a tough time, but when he gets to Turkey, he sees a sign that says Philippi. Do you guys recognize the name Philippi?
Yes, that's from the Bible.
Oh, good. It is from the Bible. So Philippi was a place that the Apostle Paul went to, all right? Now, when Brother Andrew sees this sign, he gets really excited. He starts smiling. He starts jumping up, even though his back was hurting. He's so excited because he realizes Philippi is the place where Paul was in prison for sharing the gospel, and God still helped Paul get through it. So Brother Andrew realizes if God can help Paul get through those tough situations because Paul was sharing the gospel, he can help me get through it too. So he's really excited. So Brother Andrew has a new energy. He's ready to go. He's going to go to Bulgaria first. So Bulgaria is that first country he's going to go to. And when he gets there, he meets this guy named Petrov. Petrov is his connection. It's like the guy that's going to help him get connected. So he goes, and there's an underground church, all right? Now, when we say underground, how many of you think of like digging tunnels in the ground and things like that? Or maybe like a basement, okay? Think more like you have to do something in secret. So when we talk about the underground church, it means people who meet together to praise Jesus and to read the Bible, but they can't do it out in the open or else they're going to get in trouble, okay? So he is taken to an underground church, and for many, many years, this church has not had their own Bible, all right? They don't even have a Bible for their church. So Brother Andrew gives them a Bible, and they're so excited, And that's very exciting for Brother Andrew to be encouraged with. So him and Petrov are able to spend some time together. Now, he has to go to his next country, which is Romania. So he was in Bulgaria. He was able to be in the underground church, give them some Bibles, but now it's time for him to go to his next country. Now, on the way to the next country, there's a border crossing. Okay, so whenever you go to the next country, you stop, they check your passport, things like that. Well, this border crossing was really intense, all right? They had a ton of police officers. Okay? And these police officers weren't just, checking your face. Okay, you can go. They were opening all the doors. Imagine if I took this suitcase and I just threw it in the room and I was trying to find things. Okay? They were taking apart vehicles. These officers were trying to find anything that anyone was sneaking through. And what do we know that Brother Andrew was smuggling? Bibles. Very good. So you can kind of see he had a lot of Bibles that he was smuggling. So there's a good chance that if the police officers were looking, they would find them. So Brother Andrew has this prayer to God. He says, God, I can't be clever enough or smart enough on my own to hide these. And I know that if you want these Bibles to get through, they will get through. I have to get through this border. So please, God, help these Bibles go through. So he actually takes some Bibles and he puts them right next to him on the seat. He's like, you know what? If God's going to get them through, they could be in plain sight and he will let them get through. So he has Bibles in the front seat, the back seat. The Bibles are everywhere. He goes up to the police. And do you think they search his car? Do you think they take it apart? They let him go through and they don't even check. So that was a miracle from God. God let him go through with all of those Bibles, which is very exciting. So God lets him go through the border with all of those Bibles, and Brother Andrew is able to help those Bibles get into Romania. Now he has some really awesome moments in Romania and some kind of discouraging moments. One of the really discouraging moments was, remember, if you're in a red country, the government does not want you to be reading these Bibles. So the government tells him, tells the leaders of the church, you shouldn't be reading these. So he tries to give them the Bibles, and the leader of the Romanian church says, I don't want these. I'm too scared. So that's kind of a tough situation. But then a really encouraging situation is Brother Andrew takes the Bibles to the next church. And what's crazy about this is the next church he goes to, he meets with two leaders, and they do not speak the same language at all. All right, so it would be like if I was trying to talk to you and you had no idea what I was saying, and you were trying to talk to me and I had no idea what you were saying. So what are they supposed to do to talk? Well, that is a good idea. I don't know if they knew sign language. They used the Bible to talk to each other. So they would hold open their Bible and they would point to verses, and they were able to communicate with verses in the Bible. That's pretty cool. So using the Bible, Brother Andrew was able to tell these people what he had wanted to do, and he gave these two church leaders in Romania, he gave them the Bibles that he had so that they could use them and share them with the people of Romania. All right? So very important two countries he went to, Bulgaria and Romania. Now, after these two countries, remember, his wife Corey, she's still expecting a baby, and he wants to get home to be with his wife. So he makes it back home. She gives birth to their first son, and they spend a few more years together in this country, and she ends up having 2 more baby boys. Yep, so Brother Andrew and Corey now have 3 baby boys, which is very cool. So his family is growing, and he wants to spend time with his wife and his kids, but he still knows that all of Europe needs to hear the gospel. So Brother Andrew starts to think, I want to be with my family, but I need help. I need someone who can come with me on these missionary journeys to help share the gospel. So he prays, God, can you give me the name of a person? Can you give me a guy who can come with me on these trips? And God helps remind him of this guy that he met at a refugee camp named Hans. You're going to hear about Hans more tomorrow. So Brother Andrew writes Hans a letter and says, Hans, would you like to join me on my missionary trips? And Hans says, yes. Hans says, I would love to go on these missionary trips with you. So Hans comes with him, and their next big destination, the last place that we're going to hear about, especially tomorrow, is Russia. So if we're taking a look at the big map, okay, do you guys remember that map I showed with the red countries, the green countries? Russia's like the huge red country, and that place was not very welcoming to people that wanted to share the, oh, hold up. So remember that country for tomorrow, because you're going to hear about it, but where I'm going to leave you off, another cliffhanger, we don't know if they're going to make it to Russia or not. They get stopped at the border, and that's where I'm going to leave you, okay? So thank you guys for being such good listeners today. And we'll see you tomorrow.